A little girl was bullied by her classmates. Where did you get those shoes? From the trash, they said and laughed. When she came home, she started shouting at her father. Dad, I hate you. Why can't you get me new shoes? She left and went to her rich friend's house. And when she entered, there were the boys who bullied her earlier. Hi, poor girl, your shoes are so ugly. They screamed and laughed. She was shocked to see her friend laughing with them too. Heartbroken, she left and went back home. The next morning, her father prepared her some food. I am not going to eat this. I hate you, she shouted and threw the food on the floor. Father worked as a taxi driver and drove all day. Thinking he was a bad father, one evening, while driving, he started crying, remembering every time his daughter screamed at him. Suddenly, a huge bus crashed into him. His daughter passed by and saw him screaming in pain, saying, I love you, Dad. The police tried to rescue him, but he was stuck. She came home and saw a box on her bed. I got you new shoes for you. I hope now you hate me a little bit less. Remember to appreciate the sacrifices of those who love you. One day, a father found a letter from school in the trash. It was about the upcoming Parents' Day. Sonia embarrassed by her father's job as a street cleaner. Sonia had thrown the letter away. On the event day, many fathers talked about their impressive jobs and businesses. Suddenly, Sonia's father walked into the classroom in his orange uniform. Sonia was shocked and embarrassed, thinking the kids would laugh at her father. Her father stood up and bravely explained how his job kept the city clean and safe. Every kid listened closely and asked questions. Sonia's father answered each question one by one. Looking at her father, Sonia's shame turned into pride when he realized her father's job was important and honorable. As her father was leaving, Sonia stood to apologize. Her father smiled and said, I love you, my dear. What others think doesn't matter. Just love and respect your family.
Once a young girl named Mia loved to spend her time on social media. One day, her grandmother challenged her to spend the entire day offline. If she succeeded, her grandmother promised to teach her a secret family recipe. Mia accepted the challenge. That day, she explored the garden, painted, and helped her neighbors. While walking through the park, she met an elderly man who shared stories of his youth and adventures. Mia felt inspired and connected, enjoying every moment without distractions. When she returned home, her grandmother smiled and handed her an old, worn cookbook. Inside the cover was a note. Life is like a recipe. It's the simple, real moments that create the most memorable flavors. Mia realized that true joy comes from living in the moment and connecting with others. She learned to cherish each day and embrace life's genuine experiences.
Every day, a little boy sits on a bench near the police station, waiting patiently. One day, a kind policeman notices him and asks, Who are you waiting for every day? I'm waiting for my dad to come back home. Day after day, the policeman sees the boy sitting on that bench, waiting until nightfall. When will your dad come back? Soon the boy replied, Winter came, and yet the little boy still came every day waiting. One day, the policeman saw the boy crying and approached him. Are you okay? Is your dad coming? Boy says, Year ago, my dad went to war and died. The last time I saw him, he told me he would come back soon here. So every day, I come here and wait. I know he will never come back, but the hope that I will see him again fills my heart. If this story touched your heart, please share, comment, and follow us for more.
One day, a 12-year-old girl asked her father, What are you going to give me for my next birthday? Her father smiled and said, There is still much time, so wait until your birthday. A few days later, the girl fainted and was rushed to the hospital. The doctor informed the family that she had a serious heart condition and might not survive. While the girl was lying on the hospital bed and her father was sitting near her, she asked, Daddy, am I going to die? Her father replied, No, dear, you will live. The girl said, How can you be so sure, Daddy? The father turned around and said, I just know. After some time, the girl got treated and was recovering. At the same time, she turned 13. When she came home, she found a letter on her bed. It said, My sweet child, if you are reading this, it means everything went well as I told you. Remember when you once asked me what I was going to gift you for your birthday? At that time, I didn't know what I was going to give you, but now my present to you is my heart. The father had donated his heart to his daughter.
One day, an old woman went shopping at the supermarket with her 2 grandsons. They saw many things they liked, but couldn't buy because they were too expensive. The boys were very upset. Can we get something special for Grandpa? The boys wanted to buy a cake for their grandpa's birthday, but they couldn't afford it. A man nearby noticed their disappointment. He bought the cake and approached them. "Hello, this is for you," he said. The grandmother hesitated. "We can't accept this." The man smiled and said, "When I was 7, my mother couldn't afford a cake for my birthday. A kind stranger bought one for me. I never got to thank him. He gave me a note that said, 'Promise me, when you can help someone, you will.'" The grandmother accepted the cake at home. The boys surprised their grandpa with the cake. Grandpa was overjoyed but concerned. "You shouldn't have spent the money." The boys handed him the note from the man. It read, "A simple act of caring creates an endless ripple." Grandpa's eyes welled up. Actually, he was the kind stranger who had bought the cake for that man so many years ago. Once there lived a man named David, a successful lawyer, known for his dedication to his career. In the midst of his busy life, David drifted apart from his parents. He ignored their calls and neglected to visit them. During a work party, David's mother called with sad news. His father had died. Suddenly, David felt an overwhelming sense of regret for not being there for his parents. The next day, David returned to his home, evoking feelings of warmth and nostalgia. In the kitchen, his mother was cooking and smiling, but David, off guard, was the sight of his parents dancing together. David's father turned to him and said, "Son, I'm sorry, but if pretending to die is what it takes to see you after so long." David's eyes filled with tears as he realized the deep love his parents had for him. From that day, David promised to treasure every moment with his family. He realized that parents are his greatest treasure. Once, a young hunter boy and his father lost themselves on a deserted island, far from people with no resources to survive. They decided to divide and search in different directions. Before parting, the father said, "Pray to God when you reach the other part of the island." The young son reached the other part of the island and prayed, "Please God, let there be food and water. I'm starving." After some time, he found some fruits. Realizing that his prayers were being answered, the boy prayed again, "God, I want to leave this island. Please give me a way." Suddenly, a boat appeared just as the boy was about to leave. A voice came from the sky, "Are you going alone? Will you not take your father along?" The son replied, "He must have prayed too, but you didn't respond to him. Maybe his mind isn't as pure, so he should face the consequences." The voice said, "Do you know what your father prayed for?" The son shook his head. The voice continued, "Your father prayed for only one thing. He prayed that whatever his son asked for, please fulfill it. Everything you are getting is the result of his prayers." In a small village, there was a wise old man known for his wisdom and kindness. One day, a young boy approached him with a troubled heart.
Wise man.
"I feel worthless. No matter how hard I try, I never succeed," the boy lamented. The old man handed the boy a small rough stone. "Take this to the market and see if anyone will buy it," he instructed. The boy took the stone to the market and showed it to various vendors. They all laughed and offered only a few coins. He returned to the wise man, disheartened. The old man then told him to take the stone to a jeweler. The jeweler examined it carefully and exclaimed, "This is a rare gem. I'll give you 1,000 gold coins for it." Astonished, the boy returned to the wise man. The old man smiled and said, "Like this stone, your true value is hidden. It takes the right perspective to see it. Never doubt your worth, for you are priceless." An old lady walked into a small repair shop with a sad expression, holding her old phone. "My phone isn't working," she told the young repairman. The repairman took the phone, checked it carefully, and found nothing wrong. "Madam, your phone works just fine," repairman said gently. The old lady insisted, "Please check it again. It must be broken." The repairman called his manager for a second opinion. After a thorough inspection, the manager also confirmed that the phone was perfectly fine. "Madam, there's nothing wrong with your phone," manager said kindly. Tears welled up in the old lady's eyes. Her voice trembled as he asked, "Then why don't my children ever call me?" The repairman and manager stood there, realizing that the old lady's heart was broken, not her phone. They understood that sometimes all someone needs is to feel remembered and loved. Remember to reach out to your loved ones. If this story touched your heart, hit the subscribe button for more meaningful stories. A young lady visited her sick father, who was living with chronic cancer. She asked him with a smile, "Dad, what do you wish for on your birthday next month?" The man had been told by the doctors that he had only 3 months to live. His birthday
was just days before the end of that prognosis. The young lady refused to believe the doctor's words. She acted as if everything was fine. Despite life being tough, she worked tirelessly to support her father and younger brother, neglecting her own health. Despite everything, the young lady remained hopeful. She asked her father again, "What do you wish for on your birthday next month?" He replied, "I wish both of you a healthy and successful life." One fateful night, the young lady didn't return from work on time. Both her father and brother grew worried as the hours passed. Unknown to them, she was sitting alone at a bar. What do you think happened, and why was she there? Watch the full video on this channel now, and if the story touched your heart, subscribe.
When I was 42, I lost my business. I spiraled into depression, losing everything: my house, my car, even my confidence. Despite having a loving family, I couldn't see the light anymore. One day, my mom suggested, "Why don't you make YouTube videos? You have always wanted to do that." She encouraged me to create motivational videos, hoping it would spark some joy. Reluctantly, I agreed. I made my first video, then the second, the third, and the fourth. With each video, I felt a bit lighter. The positive feedback started to lift my spirits, and I felt joy returning. Then, a setback hit. I made some mistakes and got removed from the YouTube partner program. I was devastated, but my wife looked at me and said, "You've come so far. Don't give up, learn from this, and do better." She was right. I couldn't give up. So, I started a new channel, named Digital Dimension, and I'm determined to make it even better. Won't you join me on this journey? Subscribe to my channel, and let's help me to turn things around together. Every evening, a father and his teenage son would go for a walk in the park. One day, the son, feeling rebellious, asked, "Dad, why do we always do this? It's so boring." The father smiled and replied, "You know, when you were little, you loved these walks. They were our special time together." Years passed, and the father grew old and frail. He had difficulty walking and often needed support. The son, now an adult, took his father for walks every evening. One day, a passerby noticed the old man struggling and asked the son, "Why do you go through this trouble every day?" The son smiled and said, "These walks were always special for my dad. They are our time together, just as he did for me." This story teaches us the importance of family love and the deep bond that grows from shared moments. Cherish the time with your loved ones, for these moments define our lives. Hello and welcome. Today's story is about a wise 100-year-old man in a quaint village. One day, the village governor decided to test Wise Man's wit. He called Wise Man and said, "I have a task for you. Can you make a barren land fertile in one night?" The Wise Man, always ready for a challenge, nodded confidently. That night, the Wise Man went to the barren land and did something strange. He scattered a lot of silver coins all over the land. The next morning, the villagers saw the glimmering coins and rushed to collect them. In their frenzy, they dug the land thoroughly. By evening, the land was completely plowed. The governor was amazed. He asked the Wise Man, "How did you do it?" The Wise Man smiled and said, "Sir, sometimes people need a little motivation to work hard." The promise of wealth made them do the work. The governor laughed and praised the Wise Man for his cleverness. The moral of the story: with a little creativity and understanding of human nature, you can achieve great things.
Let's uncover the story behind his original name. He was originally named Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. As Cassius Clay, he quickly rose to fame, winning the gold medal in 1960 Olympics. The Nation of Islam and influenced by leaders, he embraced the Islamic faith. He publicly rejected the name Cassius Clay and adopted the name Muhammad Ali. His new name became synonymous with greatness both in and out of the ring, representing his fight for justice, equality, and humanitarian causes. Muhammad Ali's transformation from Cassius Clay symbolizes his journey to self-empowerment and global influence. Want more hidden facts about the legend? Hit that subscribe button.
Jake was a marathon runner who had never won a race. Despite training hard, he always finished far behind the leaders. Friends and family advised him to try something else. But Jake loved running and refused to give up. One year, Jake signed up for the city's toughest marathon. The race was grueling, with steep hills and rough terrain. Halfway through, many runners dropped out, but Jake kept going, fueled by his determination. Near the end of the race, Jake felt his legs giving out. He slowed down, but never stopped. To his surprise, he noticed that the front runners had exhausted themselves, Jake pushed forward, passing one runner after another. Jake crossed the finish line in first place, his perseverance finally rewarded. He realized that success often comes to those who refuse to quit, no matter how difficult the journey. A short story about truth, an inspirational video. A policeman sees a drunk man searching for something under a streetlight. He asks the drunk man what he has lost. The drunk man looks at him and replies that he lost his keys. So they both look under the streetlight together, but not finding anything. The policeman asks if he's sure that he lost his keys here under the streetlight. The drunk man replies no, that he lost them in the park. The policeman is bewildered and asks why he's searching here then. The drunk man replies, "This is where the light is." In life, truth and wisdom are found where you least want to look. It is not there where there is light. Looking for something is easy. Maybe it means that you have to look deep inside yourself to find truth and wisdom. Anyway, I hope this story can help you in some way and make you look at life from a different angle. This is there to do motivation stories. Thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed.
One day, a philosopher was crossing the river in a boat. At that time, he said to the boatman, "You know the geography?" The sailor said, "Sir, this geography is the food of rich people. We are poor people. Where can we get such expensive things like geography?" After hearing this from the sailor, the philosopher said, "You don't know geography? Then 25% of your life is finished." After a while, the philosopher asked again, "Do you know history?" The sailor said, "Sir, even if I don't eat history, but I have eaten many leaf tree many times." After hearing this from the sailor, the philosopher said, "You don't know history? Then 50% of your life is finished." At that time, a storm started in that river. The sailor said to the philosopher, "Sir, do you know how to swim?" The philosopher said that I do not know. Then the sailor said, "Sir, even if 75% of my life is over, 25% is left. But now your life is 100% over." This story reminds us that while bookish knowledge is important, life's true lessons often come from experience and practical skills.
An elderly grandfather with shaky hands and poor vision found eating increasingly difficult. Food often fell from his spoon and milk spilled from his glass, irritating his son and daughter-in-law. "We must do something about father," the son said, tired of the mess. They set up a small table in the corner where the grandfather ate alone from a wooden bowl. The old man was heartbroken, but remained silent. Their 4-year-old son watched all this quietly. One evening, the father noticed his son playing with wood scraps. "What are you making?" he asked. The boy responded, "I'm making a little bowl for you and Mama to eat your food in when I grow up." The child smiled and continued his work, speechless. Tears filled the parents' eyes. They realized their mistake and gently led the grandfather back to the family table. That evening, they learned a valuable lesson. You get what you give. Always respect and love your parents, for you'll miss them when they're gone. A boy selling goods door to door had only 1 dime left, and he was hungry. Timidly approaches the house. A young girl opens the door, and instead of asking for a meal, he nervously asked for a glass of water. Sensing his hunger, she kindly gave him a large glass of milk. When he offered to pay, she replied, "Mother has taught us never accept payment for kindness. It's a gift." A few years later, that same young woman became critically ill with a rare disease. The local doctors consulted Dr. Thomas, who recognized her. He saw her as she was one who gave him milk. Dr. Thomas, moved by her kindness, embarked on a mission to save her life. Caused special attention. After a long time, she recovered. When woman receiving the bill, worried about payment. As she opened the bill, tears of joy welled up in her eyes. Dr. Thomas' note on the bill: paid in full with 1 glass of milk. Share your kindness today, for it may ripple into a brighter tomorrow.